as most people have obviously been losing money. I say stop being a hater. Stop being a hater, dude. Okay? People are making money, dog. What was that?
Oh, it's my computer.
Yeah. You can't have this continue. What are the actual numbers here? The share of global wealth held by billionaires surged to a record during the COVID-19 crisis. They estimate 2,750 billionaires globally control 3.5% of the world's wealth. The top 0.01% of individuals now hold about 11% of the world's wealth, compared to just about over 10% in 2020. So they gained a little bit more. They gained the percent, which I guess if you put that into numbers would be a lot, right? 1% is probably like billions of dollars.
Yeah. Says here they have a record-breaking 2,755 billionaires with a combined worth of 13.1 trillion, up from 8 trillion last year.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 billion's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 100K is a lot of money. Talk about billions. This is the excesses of capitalism. You know, this is what King Z claims he's trying to curtail by all this government intervention in China now in the private sector. Now, here's the thing. If we don't curtail it somehow in more of a just, transparent way, you're leaving it to despots, communist dictators to do it and to have the moral high ground over you. Because all he has to do is point to this and say, see, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why you see in China, my roads are clean, the water you can drink, the cops are happy, whatever kind of social program works, because we took Jack Ma and we took him on a little trip for a couple weeks. And when he came out, he had different opinions. He wasn't running his mouth anymore about deregulation.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can't say anything. That's like when you're trying to be the authority for your kid. You find your kid smoking meth, and then you go, you shouldn't smoke meth. And he goes, Dad, you smoke meth. And he goes, that's a good point, kid. But you're supposed to do as I say, not as I do. King Z's calling bullshit on us. And that's why he's doing. He's saying, see, this is the inherent major flaw of capitalism, and look at where it gets you. Look at this insane wealth inequality. Go to Flint, Michigan. Go to Rochester. Go to Troy, New York. Go to Austin downtown. Go to Venice Beach. Go fucking anywhere outside of Mark Ruffalo's house or downtown Brooklyn, and you will see that there is major wealth inequality in our country. And it's due to this shit. It's due to these fucking billionaires with their shell companies and their tax breaks and their hidden earnings in offshore accounts and their reinvestments into other accounts, et cetera, other businesses, covering businesses, corporations, inside of corporations. And then when tragedy strikes, as my good friend Jesse Scaturo behind the camera would say, it is a fucking going out of business sale for these people. They buy up all the fucking stocks because everyone's selling because they're panicking, because when you make $100,000 a month, $100,000 a year, which is considered very privileged, in even the first world, you make $200,000 a year. Guess what? When there's a fucking pandemic and you can't work, you need to sell your stocks because your income's gone and you need to leave. So when you sell your stocks because you can't afford to be in the market anymore and you can't afford to hold your position, guess who fucking swoops in? Mr. fucking Walmart, who can afford to lose money for fucking eons until the prices come back up, and then he can sell and fuck you right in your plebeian middle class ass. Am I wrong, or was that fucking accurate?
I agree.
Right on the money.
So it's just basically a nice sale for them right now. They just went and bought everything up, because that's the way Walmart also puts small businesses out of business. They come into your town. You may have a successful mom and pop store that everyone loves. They come in, hey, Harry, hey, Sally, how are you? How's the kids? Blah, blah, blah. how much for that loaf of bread? They're like, a loaf of bread is $8. We got to pay all these things. Yeah, we love you. Walmart goes, guess what? We'll go into that town, sell everything that all those stores sell. We'll sell everything in every store on Main Street. We will completely destroy, we will usurp Main Street America, put it all in one warehouse, airplane wing type of fucking building, and we will sell it for a quarter the price because we're owned by corporations that make their money elsewhere and can use this as a tax write-off. We can afford to lose money long enough to put you out of business by undercutting your prices until you're gone, and then we recoup that money because we're the only dance in town. It's called mafia tactics. Mm-hmm. I sound like a goddamn commie now. But there's points there. I'm a fan of capitalism, but you have to, it seems from an outside perspective, because I don't know shit about economics, but it seems like it's obvious you have to curtail these excesses. There needs to be a little bit of redistribution, a little kickback to society, or else shit gets out of whack. It's like when you play Monopoly. At the end of the Monopoly game, there's one dude who's just got everything, and the game's over. And you're like, all right, what do we do now? And he's like, all right, well, what I do now is I go win more Monopoly games that are going to be easier for me now, because now I'm in another country that has no labor laws, where I can pad my bottom line even more by using, Sri Lankan 12-year-olds to make my products.
Yeah.
And I can just keep going because there's no end to up, and that is the Achilles heel of capitalism. So now you're giving King Z the moral high ground because this shit is obvious. What can you do? Because you can't say King Z's wrong when he says that. When he goes, hey, look, look at your country. Look at that. Your roads. Dude, I go to Long Island. I fucking lose 3 tires every day because there's holes in the streets, and everyone's paying $30,000, $40,000 in property taxes. Where does that money go?
I don't know.
Where does that money go? If everyone's paying 30, 40, and who's watching those people? Everyone's getting paid off. They're stealing the money, and they're buying their own Christmas gifts. They're buying Apple phones. Apple has been extorted by King Z. Let's pull this fucking story up. It wasn't even on the goddamn paper plate, but I'm pissed off now. Yannis is pissing off the Uncle Paulie loyals. I know it. What can you do? Criticizing the current American economy should be a display of freedom without fear of any J. Edgar Hoover quotes. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's Tim Cook. So Tim Cook was forced into... King Z was like, whoa. This is what basically happened. You can pull it up while I'm talking. Whoa. King Z was like, whoa, you can't continue to use our labor. You can't continue to use factories over here without giving something to us. If you want to stay here, you're going to have to use Chinese companies for your parts, and you're also going to have to pay a lot of fees that go to the people.
Tim Cook just turned 18.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Cook had to, and this I think happened a couple years ago, and it's being uncovered now. Yeah, there it is. Signed secret 20. Apple chief signed a secret $275 billion deal to placate China. Apple's CEO Tim Cook forged a secret deal with China worth that amount of money I just mentioned to appease Chinese officials and improve business in the country. It was in 2016. It shows he traveled to China while there were declining Apple product sales in the country. China's like their biggest market, right? Because of the amount of people there and the growing middle class. So China also felt like Apple had not contributed enough to the economy of the nation. Listen, you guys are making a lot of money making your shit here, but again, mafia tactics. During private negotiations that year, Cook signed a 5-year agreement placating the government and preserving the business relationship. And what that entailed was building new retail stores there, renewable energy products and research and development centers. The tech company also promised to work more closely with Chinese companies, meaning the government, and universities, buying components and parts from Chinese suppliers and collaborating with the nation's colleges and researchers. So we're forced to buy more Chinese components so they can put them in your iPhone and see what you jerk off to. Apple, the number one cell phone maker in China, the company makes billions of dollars in revenue in China and even set a record for a quarterly revenue last June. Apple opened a new store, obviously, in September, as per their agreement, and the company has been building research and development centers in China. So China just said, hey, man, I know you think you're an American company. Fuck you. You're now a Chinese company. You're now a fucking Chinese company. You're not going to come over here and use our fucking cheap labor and our components without being part of this country, being owned by this country, giving your kickback to the government. Pay up, bitch.
Yeah, he saw it coming too, because in 2016 he announced that he would be investing in a $1 billion into a Chinese ride-hailing startup, DG Chuxing, I believe, and they said that wasn't enough. So
pay up.
Pay up now.
It's not enough. Or you could always move your factories to Uzbekistan, where the workers are just a little more fickle.
China is the mom. Tim Cook is the son. He just turned 18. The mom said, listen, if you're going to be in this house, you're going to work or you're going to go to school, but you're going to pay some bills. He's paying the cable bill right now.
It makes you almost want to buy Samsung. So at least you're buying from the Koreans. Or you could look at it, probably Tim Cook would say, hey, this is fair. I mean, because then you have those countries that just like in South America who just get totally bitch slapped by American companies, come in there, use the cheap labor, export all the bananas or whatever, like Dole, and they don't give the country shit. All they give is the dictator there a payoff to control his people and keep them fucking quiet while we rape their resources. So it's complicated. So part of you has to kind of bow down to King Z. King Z, are you listening? I love you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yannis Pappas. Yeah.